Five of the most disturbing cases of white peopling, hiking, gone wrong. Hmm, what could ever go wrong? Well, just seamlessly hiking in nature, enjoying nature, well, being a nature enthusiast. I
Imagine you're stuck in the middle of a desert under the scorching sun,
hate
lost
that.
track of the days. A scorpion has already bitten you once. You've endured more than one heat stroke, and now you're suffering from thirst after finishing your water supplies. With your last bit of strength, you climb a rock to get a better view, and suddenly, the ground gives way beneath you, and you plummet 9 meters down. Sharp pain shoots through your body, and you realize you can't even crawl to the shade, let alone walk. In a few days, an infection develops on your leg. You're dehydrated, and your sunburned skin is covered in wounds. Meanwhile, help still hasn't arrived. In the end, the brutal sun literally fries you to death. Rescuers will find only a skeleton in the sand with shreds of burnt clothing. The worst part is that you didn't end up in the desert accidentally.
That's a
Actually,
horrible death.
it was you who thought going to such a scorching and dangerous place was a good idea.
Well, see, that's why I said what I said in the beginning of the title. Why I said five of the most disturbing cases of white peopling gone wrong. Because why the fuck would I ever want to go to any place that's one of the most dangerous, hottest, remote deserts and go hiking? To go hiking? Oh, somebody got shot. Let me go ahead and grab my shit real quick. Yeah.
That was close in GTA.
Oh yeah, in GTA, yeah. Yeah, in GTA. Definitely. Yeah, it's crazy. Niggas got their speakers up loud as hell. Told you. Like, I heard all that commotion and fighting and throwing and slamming and shit. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Why y'all always gotta fight when I'm home? Y'all like do this when I'm at work? Do y'all do this when I'm at work? Who knows? Anyway, sorry about that.
Numerous real cases will make you understand why desert trips can be deadly. Now, let me delve into each of them, but as always, viewer discretion is advised. State and national parks face unfortunate incidents every year due to extremely high temperatures. In Texas alone, in the summer of 2023, at least 6 deaths from heat stroke were recorded. However,
In Texas. In Texas. Last year, a heat stroke. When we say, when everyone that has a Texas friend, when we say it's hot, just realize we mean like it's a different type of hot. It's like a hot that can fuck around and get us about the way if we in
What's
it too
the
long.
beep in the background though, Dan?
There's a beep in the back. Oh shit, that's probably my. I think that's my microwave. I had Actually, what's in there? Good question. I forgot what I was heating up. I'm over there talking about getting fucking food. I forgot what the hell that was. It's probably just my timer. Yep. Timer. I never pressed the end button on that. I'll be forgetting. Damn, I ain't know you could hear that. I looked at it, I'm like, oh shit. Did I
Open
leave
that
something in there
Witcher
again?
Pro lol.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could hear that shit. My fault.
this alarming statistic didn't deter 59-year-old Jeff Hahn and his 25-year-old daughter Harper from their planned trip to Big Bend Ranch State Park. When they started, the temperature in the shade had already hit 42 degrees Celsius. That day, the park resembled a giant convection oven, and Jeff and Harper couldn't find any shade to escape the relentless sun. The situation worsened when
And they still thought it was a good idea to progress and continue to do hiking things.
they realized they had strayed off their intended path, which looked like a loop on the map. Thinking it would lead them back to their car easily, they were wrong. Now
Diesel,
they
when
didn't
I
know
tell
how
you-
much longer they had to endure
When I
this
tell you, if I'd known what I know now about the Texas heat and the bipolar ass weather, yes, the gun laws are cool, but if I'd known what I know now about Texas, I'm not gonna hold you. I would have told my ex, "Fuck you." I would have hit her in my Kevin Gates voice, "Boy, fuck you." You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can go back down there with your family. I mean, shit, I'm not gonna hold you from your family now, but boy, fuck you. I ain't got no reason to come down here. It's hot as shit. Like, I would not be down here, bro. I ain't gonna hold you.
ordeal, and their water had run out.
But it's
After 8
cool.
hours into the hike, Jeff was exhausted from the heat, and every step was agonizing. So his daughter went ahead to find help and return for him. Jeff was supposed to stay put by a rock outcrop, but decided to walk a bit. It was a fatal mistake. When Harper returned on a quad bike with the park ranger, she couldn't find her father. She had no idea which way he might have gone
Had me
or
looking
if
at
he
my
was still
fucking
alive.
smoke alarm 'cause
Meanwhile,
I'd been
Jeff
told
had
him
walked
invited
several
to the
kilometers
cookout.
and stumbled upon a miner shack. Inside, he found long tables and benches, but then he noticed 2 1-liter bottles on the windowsill, covered in dust. That was the first miracle on his journey. Jeff quenched his thirst and spent about 4 hours in the hut. Watching the sunset, he decided to continue his journey at night. However, in the darkness, Jeff didn't see rocks underfoot, tripped over them, and broke his wrist. Writhing in pain, he accidentally touched a puddle among the stones formed after rain weeks ago. It was his second miracle. Jeff satisfied his thirst and watched the Milky Way move across the sky, unaware that Texas Parks and Wildlife Department rangers, park police officers from Big Bend Ranch State Park, an airplane, and even helicopters were searching for him. Gathering strength, Jeff took about 20 minutes to stand up and move on. The desert temperature was rising again, and he was tired and very hungry. Then came the third miracle. Climbing up a steep hill, he found a canyon with a small stream and a pool filled with tadpoles. Jeff remembered the reality show Naked and Afraid and decided not to disdain such a meal. He took off his hat, filled it with tadpoles, and ate them. Suddenly, Jeff saw a plane and then helicopters in the distance. He shouted and waved, but for some reason they flew past. That's when Jeff realized that at this stage, miracles had run out, and he might die right there under the scorching sun. But
Yeah.
then Jeff heard someone calling him, a rescuer. On the 27th hour of the hike, Jeff was saved. This story resembles a survival movie with a happy ending, yet in reality, Jeff's 3 miracles might not happen to you if you ever get lost in the desert.
You won't catch me in the desert.
2009, 3 in the morning, 2 professors, Robert Leibler and his colleague, Vi Elzer, found themselves on the slope of a mountain overlooking the Palm Springs Art Museum. During their off hours, they decided to hike up to the final point of the Palm Springs aerial tramway. To reach their destination, they had to cover about 16 kilometers, ascending to an altitude of approximately 2,500 meters via the Skyline Trail. In recent years, this trail has become one of the country's most dangerous and deadly one-day hikes, as it runs along the San Jacinto Mountains, right through the Sonoran Desert. Surprisingly, despite this, it remains open to visitors. Since 2009, 61 rescue missions have taken place on it. 40 of them were directed to save hikers suffering from the heat, and 5 of them didn't make it. Nevertheless, the 2 professors were sure they could handle this route. Oh, how wrong they were.
Right.
As the morning sun rose over the mountains, the hikers looked around and realized that the
overzealous when
dusty
that heat
trails
get
had
to rising,
confused
yo.
them. leading them in the wrong direction and wasting precious time.
It's a different
Lunch was
type
still
of
far
hot.
away, and the temperature had already reached around 32 degrees Celsius. Leibler began limping from the heat in his legs. Not wanting to hold back his colleague, he insisted Elzer continued without him. So around 6 in the morning, they split up. Elzer managed to find the right path on his
Bad
own
idea.
and immediately
Let's
headed to the
split
local
up,
police for
gang.
help with his colleague. The rescue mission dragged on, and the air temperature in Palm Springs gradually rose to a suffocating 47 degrees Celsius. It took a whopping 30 hours to reach Leibler. During this time, he was under the blazing sun in the middle of the desert. From a distance, the officer realized the man was in critical condition, lying motionless. When the police approached, they saw that the hiker's shirt, shorts, socks, and brown hiking boots had blended with the sand, and the scorching sun had changed his body beyond recognition. Leibler's death came from heat stroke.
Smoke.
Interestingly, he had a backpack with water and a phone. Unfortunately, they are not a guarantee of survival in the desert. Yet Skyline Trail is not the most dangerous place for hikes. There's a sand valley that has claimed so many lives, it's considered cursed. Death Valley National Park spans
I thought I
3
was
and
locked
4
in.
million acres of desolate landscape, and its name is no coincidence. Horrific accidents happen here constantly. On July 23rd, 1996,
This shit actually
the
kinda good.
newlyweds, Egbert Rimkus and Cornelia Mayer, thought it was a great idea
I don't know
to take
why. I don't know why. I be like watching. I guess it's just because like watching people do shit or in scenarios that I would never basically be in myself. The shit is interesting to me. I be locked in. I be dead ass watching this. Like, damn, that's crazy. Because I know for sure I will never, ever, ever, ever do no dumb shit like that. I think that's why I be watching like ghost shit and like, you know, a whole lot of white people. Because like, it's interesting.
a trip to Death Valley with their 2 children. Egbert rented a minivan, grabbed a simplified visitor's map, and set off on the sun-soaked asphalt to the west. Further into the park, he took a dirt road to the southeast part of the Panamint mountain range, where Warm Spring Canyon is located. In this spot, you'll find these old concrete shacks where Death Valley miners used to live. Despite being run down, they've provided a brief escape from the relentless heat and even a chance to find fresh water in a mountain spring. Cornelia stumbled upon a visitor's journal in a metal box on a post at the camp's edge and jotted down their names. Along the beaten mining road, they reached a lonely old structure known as the Geologist's Cabin, maintained by
niggas goes
volunteers
under
to
they
offer
ops.
shelter. In a bold move, German tourists swiped the American flag here as a souvenir.
That's
Their
a
playful
series.
move quickly
That's
vanished.
a series or a
Family got
skit.
lost following
that
a
needs to be
confusing
done.
map. The worst was yet to come.
Like, you know how like Marlon and the Wayans bros, a few of them did like the Hunter House. They did like their like basically paranormal black activity. You know what I'm saying? That could be, you know what I'm saying, something like that. That could be like a series on YouTube or, you know what I'm saying, that'd be hard. My bad.
Their car suddenly got flat. Contemplating their next move, the tourists consumed most of their supplies. Waiting for the sun to set, they then embarked on a random walk. All these details, buying a map, journal entries, and a stolen flag, were clues that helped the police reconstruct part of the family's route. Because all 4 tourists simply vanished. Rescuers tried to find more clues, but it was futile. The news only surfaced on October 21st. A local ranger was doing a routine check in the desert when he accidentally spotted an abandoned minivan. After that, the tourists were considered dead. As with the flat tires, it was clear they were stranded in the middle of the desert with no chance of survival. Yet 2 determined hikers, Les Walker and Tom Mahood, kept searching for the family's traces. On November 12th, 2009, they discovered the remains of 2 adults with documents belonging to the missing
Still doing
tourists in the
weird shit.
desert. Nearby, they found a child's shoe sole. That's why it's crucial to always assess your readiness for such challenging and dangerous hikes, especially if you're bringing children along. Death Valley can be a deadly trap, even
It's
for a
literally
pro.
called Death
This
Valley.
photo with a hiker was taken by a reporter on July 18, 2023. In it, 71-year-old Steve Curry smiles after a long walk to Zabriskie Point through part of the Amargosa mountain range on the east side of Death Valley. That day, the park's temperature almost hit 50 degrees Celsius. The reporter asked him why he dared such a grueling hike. Steve answered
That
with a short phrase,
2009 spit
"Why
kinda
not?"
irks me.
Many people visited this desert hell just to test themselves and their survival skills in tough conditions. So the man looked genuinely happy to have conquered such a risky journey. Around 3:40 p.m., park visitors called the local rescue service and reported that one of the tourists had passed out. It was Steve. Despite artificial respiration attempts, park rangers couldn't save him. Steve succumbed to the severe heat stress his body couldn't endure. However, in Death Valley, you can die not only from it. In April of 2021, Alexander Lofgren and Emily Henkel arrived in Death Valley, all excited because they planned their first open-air camping experience. They set off in their car to the chosen spot when, suddenly, they heard a strange sound, like an explosion. The car hit some rock that sliced through both tires. Adventurers found themselves trapped at least 48 kilometers from the nearest civilization. At this point, Alexander and Emily's dreamy getaway turned into an absolute nightmare. The couple spent the whole day and evening brainstorming a rescue plan. They decided to stay put for now, conserve energy and water, try catching a cell signal, and figure out the maps. They dared to stroll a bit the next day, hoping to bump into someone by chance. But no matter how far they walked, there was no soul around. The pair descended through the canyon and started crossing a mountain pass. The terrain had sharp elevation changes, making Alexander and Emily climb up rocky cliffs and descend steep slopes. Suddenly, Alexander lost his balance and plummeted. He rapidly fell until he landed at the bottom of the ravine. He screamed in pain, calling Emily for help. She rushed to him, but getting down wasn't that simple. First, she ran to the opposite side of the cliff, finding a crack to squeeze through. After that, she descended halfway down until she saw there was a 9-meter gap ahead, with no protrusions on the rock to grab onto. But Emily was ready to do anything to be with Alexander sooner. So, without much thought, she jumped down. Upon landing, she felt intense pain in her left leg. The ankle was unnaturally bent at an angle. Now, the girl struggled not only to help her beloved, but herself as well. At least she tried to support her partner and be nearby.
That is fucking stupid. That is fucking stupid. Why would you do that? If that's, all right, if me and my girl are white people and I just so happen to fall down a cavern and I break something and she's like, hold on, honey, I'll come down here. No, my first off is why? Why the fuck are you going to come down here? For what? You know what I'm saying?
That's some saltine spit.
Dead ass. I'm like, bro, why are you coming down here? For what? Like, can you help me in any way? No, you can't help me. Only way I'll be like, yo, do you have a ladder? Go get help. You know what I'm saying? Go get help. Don't fucking fall down here and be handicapped and paralyzed with me. This is a long drop. If I broke something, you for sure gonna break something. Like, what the fuck? I don't want to die together. Go, live for me. If anything, shit. Or, die trying to save me, but not like this. Don't just die with me. That's dumb as fuck.
After 30 minutes post-fall, Alexander stopped screaming in pain. He succumbed to the injuries he sustained. Despite it being only the 5th hour since Emily left the car,
That's dumb.
it felt like she'd lived a lifetime. And after her lover's death, it ended. The woman found herself surrounded by sheer cliffs, a broken leg, and no way out of this trap. To make things worse, the sun rose, scorching her skin unbearably. Emily's leg still hurt so much that she couldn't move into the shade,
She got cooked
even
to
if
death.
she could find one. The temperature rose to about 38 degrees Celsius.
Damn.
Then the girl realized she had to ditch all negative thoughts and focus solely on survival. Emily rummaged through her backpack, finding an emergency blanket. For the next 6 days, she practically lived under that piece of aluminum foil. It shielded her from the sun during the day and provided warmth at night when temperatures dropped to 10 degrees. But at some point, the girl heard a faint sound of trickling water. Overcoming the pain, she crawled toward the noise and stumbled upon a waterfall. Reaching the water,
What?
she finally quenched her thirst, and then she heard another strange sound, a helicopter. At that moment, Emily realized that she wouldn't have seen it if she hadn't overcome herself and moved away from the cliff. Her struggles were worth it because Emily was about to be saved. Or not.
Wow.
The helicopter flew by, and hope dwindled. It was the fifth day since Emily got lost in the desert, and she wasn't sure if she'd last any longer. However, the next day, the helicopter returned. They saw the girl, but rescuers couldn't pick her up immediately. A safe rescue plan had to be devised as the canyon was too narrow for the helicopter's blades. Eventually, Emily was saved. Doctors barely managed to save her leg, as by the time of the rescue, it was discolored from toe to shin. But even the joyous rescue was overshadowed by her lover's death. So, don't underestimate places with death in their names, as your journey might very well end in such a way. If you ever find yourself lost,
No shit. That's why I'm like, bro, the fact that they went there and wanted to do this at Death Valley. Well, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. I'm not gonna hold you. Can't feel all that bad for you, RIP, but you know, I can't feel that bad for you. Kind of did that to yourself. You should have known better. Okay, moving on. Since we're on catastrophic deaths, let's see some of three of the most catastrophic building collapses in American history. Considering September 11th was almost a week ago, about 6 days ago, actually, maybe about a week ago, upon whenever this video gets uploaded. This is fitting. This is fitting.
15-year-old Jonah got yanked out of the 10th floor at night.
Yoink.
Mark Williams was crushed under 60 tons of concrete.
Damn.
Park, a department store worker, got hit on the head in her workplace and then came around in a dark and cramped space. All of these people are connected by the top 3 grand-scale building collapses that made history, which I'll tell you about in this video.
Excuse me.
Viewer discretion is advised. It's June 24th, 2021. We're in Surfside, a Miami suburb. It's 1:22 a.m. Nicholas Balboa was walking his dog on the beach when suddenly he heard a thunder-like sound. But the weather was nice, and the man realized something terrible had happened. He became one of the first people to witness the grand-scale tragedy. As it turned out, a multi-story residential building collapsed on the waterfront. At least half of the 136 condo apartments whose tenants had been sleeping peacefully got ruined instantly in just 12 seconds. In the pitch-black darkness and eerie silence, Balboa suddenly heard a child's voice coming
He's the
from the
Rock's
rubble.
grandson.
Still in his beach slippers with
Adrian!
bare hands, the man pushed through tons of glass and fixtures. Finally, he saw a hand waving in the wreck. It was 15-year-old Jonah Handler, who lived on the condo's 10th floor with his mother, Stacy. After the building got ruined, the boy got stuck in the tiny space between 2 damaged walls. He was begging to be saved and for his mom to be found. But Balboa couldn't help the boy alone. Furthermore, when rescuers arrived at the ruined condominium, it became clear the entire country's efforts wouldn't be enough to deal with the aftermath of this tragedy. An emergency was declared in the entire state, and over 80 rescue squads arrived at the site. On the first day, there was news of 35 rescued, 3 hospitalized, 1 dead, and 159 missing. Jonah was one of the people who were hospitalized. Balboa led the rescuers to him and helped them until the boy was freed from under the
What do
debris.
you mean missing?
The day after the collapse, the horrifying news appeared. A fire had started in the rubble and the death toll increased to 5. However, the injured Jonah still didn't know where his mother was. In addition, there were 2 other condominiums in the housing complex. While the reason for the collapse was still unclear, the inhabitants were urged to evacuate to prevent the catastrophe from repeating. Meanwhile, the news about its aftermath was becoming increasingly harrowing. 6 days after the collapse, 12 people were confirmed dead, and 149 others were thought to be missing. By then, young
Missing?
Jonah had already regained consciousness and asked about his mother again, but the doctors only advised him to rest and not worry. Meanwhile, the rescue operation had to be suspended due to the possible collapse of the remaining part of the building, since Tropical Storm Elsa was approaching Florida. Eventually, the dangerous wall had been demolished by July 4th, and the search effort resumed. It brought nothing but bad news, though. The death toll rose to 46 people, and the odds of anyone surviving were close to zero. In the meanwhile, doctors were helping Jonah, who survived but had 12 fractured vertebrae and torn back muscles. The boy's father didn't allow journalists to see his son and kept the aftermath of the tragedy secret from him. Everyone who'd been watching the news, on the other hand, already knew that Jonah's mom survived after the building collapse, but died in the hospital. By July 23rd, the final death toll was announced. It was 98 people. Their families demanded answers to the question of how such a tragedy could have happened. The answer turned out to be even scarier than anyone could have expected.
98 people.
Information about critical damage to the condominium was available years before the collapse. The southern tower was the first of 3 to be built in this apartment complex. All 3 towers had construction guideline violations. Specialists found out that the building's support beams, located at the level of the underground parking lot, had less metal reinforcement than necessary. The engineers had made a fatal mistake during the construction of the swimming pool right above the parking lot. The waterproofing layer didn't have the necessary tilt, causing rainwater to gather there instead of escaping into the drain. As a result, it kept gradually gnawing at the concrete slab below the pool, and then at the metal reinforcement rods in the support beams. The company that owned the building was informed of this after an inspection as far back as 2018. Moreover, a year before the catastrophe,
That's crazy.
a video of giant cracks in the condo's parking lot appeared online. After that, a multi-million renovation of the building was reportedly announced, but it never started. And even that's not all. 36 hours before the collapse, a local newspaper published photos taken in the southern tower's pool maintenance rooms. In the pictures, you can clearly see water puddles, cracks in the concrete, and corroded metal fixtures. But no one reacted to this information. Just 7 minutes before the building got tragically ruined, a video showing a strong water current flooding the condo's garage and its floor specked with pieces of concrete appeared on the news. So, after examining all of these clues, the experts converged on the thought that one of the columns under the pool's floor had crumbled, and the concrete slab over the parking lot had collapsed. After this, the remaining parts of the building fell into the crater. So it looks like young Jonah Handler suffered because of the construction company's negligence and the building owner's
Bro, I'm trying to tell you,
addition to-
I be cooking. I don't be like pre-watch. I'm like, I'm dead. I was like, this sounds like negligence. Oh, wow. Damn, that sucks, yo. I'll be like, hold on. You could have just said that, because, you know what I'm saying? I be locked. I might not be saying too much because I'm like, bro, my brain be cooking.
Physical injuries. The boy sustained serious psychological trauma analogous to post-traumatic stress disorder Army officers experience. He still shivers at the sound of thunder and is in a constant battle with survivor's guilt. I don't think Jonah
That's
knew
tough.
that when his condo's southern tower had just been built, a similar tragedy happened on the other side of the country. July 17th, 1981.
Right, you got
Kansas
guap,
City.
but you
The
depressed as
luxurious
fuck.
Hhwhite Hotel at Crown Center
You got
had been
PTSD
hosting
from
grand
the sound of
dancing parties for
thunderclaps.
over a year. That evening, over 1,600 people gathered there.
More harm than
Dozens of
good.
visitors were staying on the elevated skywalks on the level of 2nd, 3rd, and 4th floors, from which they can enjoy a stunning view of the atrium. 34-year-old Mark Williams had just approached the bar when he heard a loud bang. In the next moment, the 4th floor skywalk with around 20 people detached and fell onto the 2nd floor walkway, with 40 visitors still on it. Just a few seconds later, 58,000 kilograms of steel and concrete hit the crowded hotel lobby. An eerie silence filled the room for a moment, followed by the first screams. An unknown number of people ended up under the rubble. Mark Williams was one of them. The man realized both of his legs were broken as he saw them near his ears. He also suspected he'd sustained a spine
You want to know what's
fracture.
crazy, Letta?
He
I
wasn't
was thinking the
feeling any
same
pain
thing. I'm
due
like,
to a
bro,
massive
whenever.
adrenaline spike. However,
What if he
Mark's
started
situation
pounding
suddenly
down some
deteriorated
doonies?
drastically when a flood broke out in the debris.
He gonna
The
go,
collapse had damaged high-pressure
after every
pipes,
stroke.
and water started pouring
She
out
better
of
not be
it
thick.
at an incredible speed.
You only gotta hit
Williams, whose face
flapjacks.
was pressed to the floor by a piece of debris, started choking. He wasn't likely to know that there were bare electric cables all around him, so he could be electrocuted at any moment. The rescuers and the medics who arrived at the scene were shocked by the scale of the tragedy. They
Only
assisted
flapjacks.
almost 200 people, and that's only those who hadn't been crushed under the rubble. Although over 100 rescuers and volunteers showed up at the site in less than 50 minutes, they couldn't get the victims from under the debris. The concrete slabs turned out to be so enormous that they were impossible to get out of the way with the available means. A powerful crane arrived late at night, and the first large lump of concrete was successfully lifted at 3 a.m., but tons of debris remained to be removed. Under one of them, the rescuers found Mark Williams, who was miraculously alive 9 hours after the collapse. Suddenly, the man heard the noise of machines over him and started yelling frantically. The rescuers stopped for a second and yelled back. However, when the specialists began working on getting Williams out of the trap, the jackhammer chisels went centimeters from his body, threatening to kill the man. When Mark was already preparing for the next metal chisel to drill his back, the concrete skywalk over him got lifted, and 9.5 hours after the tragedy, he was finally taken out from under the rubble. Williams became the last survivor. On the morning of July 18th, the bodies of 31 people were found under another skywalk segment. Some corpses were unrecognizable. Yet after the 14-hour-long rescue operation was over, 216 people were found to be injured, and 114 were pronounced dead. The death toll could still rise, as the doctors believed Mark Williams would be unable to survive his injuries. But what caused this large-scale tragedy? 3 suspended walkways,
Talk to us.
each around 37 meters long, were built in the Hhwhite's lobby. The third-floor skywalk was placed somewhat to the side, and the second and fourth floor skywalks were right under each other. Each walkway was planned to be attached to the ceiling with metal rods. During the construction, though, a different decision was made. Just as planned, the fourth floor walkway was attached to the ceiling, and the second floor walkway was attached to the lower part of the skywalk above. At the same time, the engineers didn't change anything in the original project. That means the rods designed to sustain only one skywalk were now holding 2. Moreover, when a collapse occurred
What?
during construction, it was ignored. After the work was done, there was most likely an understanding with the quality assessment inspectors to open the hotel as soon as possible. All of this led to the disaster in less than a year. Its consequences forever changed the lives of those who survived this horror.
You ever seen that?
No.
That's you.
Wow.
The doctor's predictions didn't come true, and Mark Williams also ended up among the survivors. Moreover, the man was told he'd never be able to walk again. However, fast forward 32 years, and the man confidently rises to meet the rescuers who freed him from the trap. Williams didn't doubt for a second that he'd survive and regain his health. He also claims this trial made him a better person. In my opinion, this man's story is scary, but also absolutely incredible. However, I'm sure that 19-year-old Park Seung-hyun had never heard about it. That's because the girl lived on the opposite side of the Pacific Ocean, in the capital of South Korea. In the summer of 1995, she was working at one of the city's most popular shopping malls, Sampoon. Yet on June 29th, a tragedy cut short the girl's monotonous work in the children's goods department. It all started with a small inconvenience. From early morning, the area's air conditioning didn't work. In the evening, it became known that the shopping mall's 5th floor, where all the restaurants were, was closed to visitors. The Sampoon staff knew that their air conditioning system was malfunctioning and the roof needed repairs. Yet when rumors about the 4th floor being closed started spreading, Park and her colleagues became suspicious. Their higher-ups didn't say anything though, and the employees went on helping the customers, whose numbers exceeded 2,000 on that day. At around 5:40 p.m., Park, who worked on the 1st floor, heard a powerful bang from above. Another one followed, and then the alarm went off in the room. The people started panicking and scurrying around. Something fell on the girl's head, and she went unconscious. The following moment, all 5 floors of the mall's southern wing collapsed, burying around 1,500 people. Park Seung-hyun was one of them. She regained consciousness in total darkness. At first, the girl was still able to move, but then a piece of debris above her moved down and crushed her to the floor. The rescuers arrived within minutes and realized right away that South Korea's deadliest peacetime disaster had happened. On the very next day, it was known that 530 people were injured, 30 were dead, and the number of those missing were measured in hundreds. It was crucial to dig them out from under the rubble as fast as possible, but the rescuers came up against a lot of issues. It soon became clear that almost all of their technology and equipment was ineffective. The giant cranes could easily kill the survivors. Sound detectors and service dogs couldn't track anything in the chaos of the ruins. Heat detectors often reacted to fires that had started deep inside the debris and posed another problem both for the rescuers and for those still alive. By the evening, the news became truly shocking. The number of the injured rose to 910, and the death toll hit 113. The shocked Park Sung-hyun was still calling for help, remaining stuck in a deadly trap. However, even though human voices were still heard from under the rubble, less than 2 days after the tragedy, the Seoul mayor commanded that the search be stopped. The risk of the remaining wall collapsing and the poisonous smoke from the fires endangered hundreds of rescuers' lives. Yet the victims' families walked out to protest immediately, and the search was resumed. This saved the lives of 24 people who managed to survive in the basement and hold out for 52 hours. At first, though, the rescuers only managed to push a wide pipe to the victims' shelter to ensure their access to fresh air, food, and water. It took another 13 hours to clear the way to the survivors and get them out. However, no one had reached Park Sung-hyun, yet the search and rescue operation continued, but only dead bodies were found in the debris. Until the first miracle happened 10 days after the collapse. A young man was rescued from the rubble. As it turned out, that whole time he'd been drinking the water pouring out of the fire hoses and kept playing with a children's toy to stay sane. But this wasn't the only miracle. 2 days later, an 18-year-old girl was rescued. After this, no one hoped to find any survivors in the debris. But suddenly, on July 16th, one of the rescuers heard something strange under a concrete slab. He stopped the equipment, yelled, and heard a woman's voice answer. Having made a big enough hole in the debris, the firefighter saw Park Sung-hyun. It was an absolute miracle since the woman practically had no scratch on her body. She didn't remember drinking the
she
water
got
that
blessed.
seeped through the rubble, but she couldn't have survived otherwise. Yet the very thing that saved these three lucky people took away the lives of others. As it turned out, many people had survived the collapse, but choked on the water from the fire hoses. After the rubble was cleared, the entire nation went into mourning. The collapse of Sampoon had killed 502 people. It was a catastrophe on an unprecedented scale, but it could have been avoided if the mall owners hadn't put profit over human lives.
What'd they do?
The news was shocking. The management knew the destruction of the building was unavoidable since the very morning of that fateful day. Giant cracks appeared in the building's roof, some up to 10 centimeters wide. Then the management closed down the 5th floor and called engineers to assess the risks. The specialists said the building was going to collapse. At 3 p.m., a Sampoon management meeting was held. It ruled to close down the 4th floor but keep the mall open to avoid losing the day's revenue. Yet most higher-ups and managers were promptly evacuated. What exactly led to the catastrophe, though? The start of Sampoon construction coincided with late 80s, when Korea was getting rebuilt after the war at lightning speed. This often caused the building's quality to suffer. At first, Sampoon was supposed to be a 4-story apartment complex, but its owner suddenly decided it was going to be a shopping mall, and a 5-story one at that. According to all rules of engineering and physics, this called for a total change in the entire construction. Yet, that never happened. Moreover, instead of adding or reinforcing the support beams so they could support the additional 5th floor, their quantity was decreased to accommodate the escalators. The building also didn't have
escalators,
or at least beams. Each new flooring was simply put on concrete columns along the perimeter. Such a building could not physically hold even for 10 years. Eventually, a food court was built on the 5th floor, heated with hot water pipes. This put further pressure on the support columns. The last drop was the 3 giant air conditioning units with an overall mass of 45,000 kilograms installed on the roof. Moreover, when the neighbors complained about the noise, the conditioning units were simply moved to the other side of the shopping mall, literally destroying the roof as a result. Cracks started appearing on the roof, and the vibration of the air conditioning kept them widening and spreading through the building. Eventually, the support columns failed under the load and collapsed, setting off a deadly domino effect. Each floor fell on the one below. After the catastrophe, it became clear that the concrete quality in the beams were subpar. The fixtures were critically few, and the beams themselves were thinner than planned. In the end, Lee Jun, the owner of Sampoon Group, was sentenced to 10.5 years in prison, and his son, who was the general director of the shopping mall, to 7 years behind bars. 2 more officials were imprisoned for bribery. However, not even this punishment for the perpetrators can give Park Sung-hyun back her life before the catastrophe. The girl was discharged from the hospital after 3 weeks with her physical health fully intact, but psychologically, she will never be the same. Do you know what infuriates me the most? If between the project stage of the building and its completion, every specialist had done their job as they should have, none of these tragedies would have happened. But they did happen, and sadly, they're not the only ones. So,
That's what I was thinking. A lot of this shit just came from niggas, construction workers trying to cut corners and just being lazy and not locking in the way they fucking need to lock in when they're building a huge megaloton structure that niggas are gonna be working in. Like, bro, you got one job to make sure this building is fucking up to code. And I'm pretty sure y'all niggas are getting paid well. Like, come on, G. You just gotta make sure the building don't fall on niggas. That's all you gotta do. Just make sure this don't fall on niggas. Can you do that? Is that asking really too much? Okay. All right. Let's do one more reaction. And then, yeah, we're going to do one more reaction. And then we just going to chill. Yeah. And then I'm going to end like the recordings. And then we can just watch stuff for us. What I feel like watching. Oh, okay. 5 of the most horrifying live streams. This is on brand for right now. Kind of late at night. So I'm a little sad, tragic, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? A little of both.
Live streams. They've changed the way we share moments, witness events, and connect with each other across the globe.
Facts.
Streams bring us closer to the action, offer real-time interaction. They capture events that are unfiltered, unexpected, and sometimes utterly chilling. I'm Ryan from Tragedy Tales, and this week I've dug into the digital abyss. I've scoured the internet to bring you 5 horrifying live streams that shocked viewers.
Wait,
From
what?
the man who captured pure terror to a phony Christmas live stream that was far from what it seemed. Grab a hot drink and draw the curtains. Let's get right into it.
I don't have a hot drink. I mean, the 99s make my stomach hot, so technically I guess so. Let's go, Tragedy Tales. Yeah, turn us up. I hope I don't see any of the same stories I've seen before.
Now, I'm sure you're all aware that construction sites are just dangerous in nature.
Oh,
You're
God.
clad out in a myriad of PPE, you have to train, and you have to sign a million forms before you can.
We were just on that. We were just on that, bro. So, yes, you ain't got to tell us. We all know how dangerous and how fucked up them bitches is. But continue.
Even step onto one. However, in this case, no amount of training or PPE could protect you from this. This live stream unfolded on the 18th of May, 2023, in North Carolina, in Charlotte. It was a Thursday, and a day like any other, as the busy city of Charlotte churned into action. That morning, workers from multiple contractors arrived at a building site just off Liberty Road Drive. This was a 7-story building site intended to be a luxury apartment building situated near the popular South Park Mall. And on this day, around 120 workers grafted away.
Park.
Some were installing windows, some were fitting insulation, with one worker situated in a crane 210 feet above the ground. As the sun rose over the building site, the day began. The workers began their usual jobs, hauling things up the stairs, loading and fitting windows. Now this is when the horror begins. At approximately 9 a.m, on the bottom floor of the partially built multi-story building, the workers began hauling spray foam insulation from the van that it had arrived in into the bottom floor. Within the spray foam trailer, there was a generator and a load of canisters that combined to create this spray foam insulation. Inside this trailer, a spark started a flame, and the flame spread rapidly. It spread all across the spray foam insulation, quickly reaching the apartment and the workers that were busy grafting. There was no alarm yet installed for emergencies, so a couple of workers ran sporadically across the floors, shouting "Fire, fire," in an attempt to get everyone out. But because the building in question was only partially built, with lots of wood exposed, the flames just spread faster than anyone could have imagined, lurching up the wooden beams, and within minutes, the entire site was filled with smoke and fire.
Feeding the flames.
Yeah, hey guys, definitely a very active scene out here. You can see those flames. It's really, really hot out here because you can feel those flames behind me. I'm gonna step out of the frame, we can show you. You can see the fire is really, really burning. I mean, driving in from this location, you can see it from miles and miles away. But again, these flames are very aggressive, and they are burning quite hot and quite fast. And obviously, with a new build, with apartments, and obviously you have to think about those raw materials like wood and lumber, definitely some insulation that can be used in the walls. So
over 90 firefighters responded to the scene to do what they do best.
Fight fires.
This was enormous, reaching an alarm 5, the highest alarm sounded for a fire. As the firemen battled the blazes, smoke enveloped the area. More than 100 other workers managed to escape, while the firefighters successfully saved 15 workers who were trapped, including one man who was stuck in his crane above the smouldering building site for over an hour. Sadly, 2 men remained unaccounted for, 30-year-old DeMonte Sherrill and 48-year-old Reuben Holmes, a 2-man contractor team who were installing windows on the 6th floor.
Oh no.
Getting different vantage points in all afternoon. Excuse me, as of right now, 2
No
construction
walkie-talkie or
workers
group
are
chat, right?
unaccounted
Like,
for
what's up?
after
No
all of this.
communication or nothing.
Because the building was being built, an interior temporary stairway was removed in preparation for the permanent stairs. Removing this left only one available stairway from the 7th floor to the ground. Unfortunately, this one stairwell was now impossible to navigate because it was full of smoke, and this left the 2 workers trapped on the 6th floor with no escape. With the 2 men trapped and awaiting rescue, with nothing else to do but pray and wait, father of 4, DeMonte, reached into his back pocket and went live on Facebook. Now, DeMonte had only been working at this job, fitting windows, for just 3 days. What was a normal day for him and his colleague Reuben had swiftly been turned into the stuff of nightmares.
I'm at South Park right now, at work, the building on fire, and I can't get out. It's getting harder and harder for them to see us. We're gonna have to stand out here and see. The building on fire, I'm trapped inside, me and my man.
As DeMonte went live from within the burning building, he said to his viewers that he was trapped on the 6th floor, trapped at work, and that it was getting harder and harder to see. He screamed out, "Help," desperately, while DeMonte's family and friends watched, including his own mother.
The building on fire, I'm trapped inside, me and my man.
That's fucked up.
DeMonte's father, Terry Campbell, rushed to the scene as soon as he heard, but by the time he got down there, the entire street was chock-a-block full of black smoke and rising flames. With the smoke billowing out from the shell of the building, the flames reached temperatures of upwards of 2,000 degrees. This was actually one of the largest fires in Charlotte's history. As firefighters worked their way through the blazing building, they reached the 6th floor. and here they heard the agonizing pleas for help from the two men who were trapped. But unfortunately, at this point, due to the sheer amount of smoke that was in the building, the firefighters were forced to call Mayday and abort rescue, leaving the two men for dead.
Abort rescue?
It collapsed.
Because they're black.
Yep, I got it on film.
It took firefighters until noon to subdue the flames, but sadly, the two men that were trapped on the 6th floor remained missing. The next day, as firefighters sifted through the ash, their burnt bodies were discovered and retrieved. Now, in hindsight, the stream of DeMonte and Ruben being trapped on the 6th floor is eerily haunting. Their family and friends were all watching, not realizing that they were witnessing the pair's tragic final moments. Just imagine that you're in that same situation, trapped
some
at
whole
work,
shit.
6 stories up, on an unfinished balcony.
That's what I'm
with the
saying. I'm
flames
like,
quickly rising
what?
towards you,
Abort
being
mission?
choked out by
Nigga,
the
you're a
inescapable smoke.
fighter.
It's truly horrific. And the
Just
fact that
because
they
there's
were
too much
screaming for help
smoke,
and
you say,
nobody
oh,
could
can't
reach
do
them.
it.
Yeah, it's awfully tragic. This incident raised serious questions as to the safety on building sites. 3 companies were cited, being accused of not meeting several fire safety codes that led to the workers' tragic deaths, including not having a fire alarm system, a escape plan of any sort, or having an escape route for the employees.
Facts.
Investigators determined that multiple heat sources were inside the spray foam trailer, and this is what started the fire. And they also said that nobody was monitoring these operations whatsoever. They said that if someone had been there at the time with a fire extinguisher of any size, this entire situation would have been avoided. In January of
Damn, more
2024, 2
negligence.
out of the 3 companies that were involved were fined for breaching 8 fire codes that led up to the fire, with fines totaling almost $50,000.
More negligence. Big violation. Big violation.
Imagine that you're at a house party with your friends, you got beer, you got pizza, you got music. It's a great time. Then you decide to have, I don't know, a game of hide and seek.
Where the hoes at?
This is the very last thing you expect to happen. This frightening stream occurred on Saturday, the 4th of April, 2020, in Maryland, more specifically, Baltimore.
Hey!
Home to 585,000 people, with a long history as an important seaport, Baltimore is known for its delicious seafood.
Talk to him.
However, it's also known for its darker side. The city is officially the 3rd most dangerous place to live in the entire United States, boasting a crime rate of 48 per 1,000 residents, making it one of the highest crime rates across all America. Your chances of becoming a victim of either a violent or property crime here is 1 in 21. However, just like any city, while there are drug and gang-related crime, these kind of crimes only occur in specific parts of the city and don't actually have an effect on tourists or non-gang members. But this stream began on Saturday, the 4th of April, 2020. Because it was the middle of the pandemic, as darkness settled on Baltimore, many returned to their homes for a quiet night in. However, these restrictions
Is this about the
would
bridge?
not stop 24-year-old Ernest Wilson III. That night, Ernest planned one of his famous game nights and invited 15 or so of his friends. Ernest was described as a very nice and sweet young man. He was a great big brother and a person who could make you laugh with anything that came out of his mouth. Before the weekend, Ernest had gone out of his way and rented an Airbnb on the 1100 block of St. Charles Street. He rented this B&B out for what he called a game night. I can only guess what was involved here, but these nights were something that Ernest was known to do quite often and was actually famous for hosting them. On the night of April the 4th, Ernest went live on Facebook a total of 4 times. The first of the night was captioned "Pull Up On Me," and it shows Ernest on his own in the B&B, rolling backwards and flashing illicit substances. He asks more people to join him and tells them to pull up on him. One randomer asked if he could have the location, to which he responded, "Inbox me. I won't put the address public."
You still having game night? Why you asking me dumb shit? I'm live in a house by myself and my caption says pull up on me. Pull up on me.
In this first stream, however, one live viewer wrote in the chat asking for an invite, to which Ernest replies,
You're not invited. You're not pulling up on me. The person who just joined. If you're still watching, you're not invited. Because you don't fucking listen, and I'm gonna bang you in your mouth next time. It wasn't my event, so I didn't. This one is, and I will. So to avoid that, you're not invited. And I dare you come on here like, boy, fuck you. I dare you. Because I'm gonna let you have it. So to avoid that, don't.
You talking
in the
tough
next two
too.
live streams, the streams just show the party getting going. It looks like there's 20 odd people having fun, drinking, playing games, and dancing. But in the fourth and final live stream of the night, at 2:32 AM, Ernest went live again with the caption of "Better play hide and seek." All on stream, his friends hid around the B&B, whilst Ernest goes out front to count to 30.
Y'all too goddamn old to be playing hide and seek.
I gotta count out here. How you gonna hide right here? They so dumb.
Hide and seek.
Little dumbass. You thought I gotta count out here, stupid. Go the other way. I'm coming to look for you first, girl. You know I can ham up there and shit. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right, hide and go get it.
9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can hear y'all. 14,
grab it.
15. I can see y'all. 16, 17. Don't walk this way because you're going to get caught. 18, 19. Thank you. Go the other way. You're making it too easy. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, because I'm tired of fucking counting. Ready or not, here I come.
As the countdown ends, he returns inside, shouting, "Ready or not, here I come."
Lock the door so don't hit the open door on me. Ain't nobody in the bathroom. I didn't think nobody. What the fuck? Oh, all right. I'm going. I'm leaving everything open. Ain't nowhere to hide for you.
In the darkness, he creeps around looking for anyone hiding, checking utility cupboards and various rooms, before deciding to check the back door.
Next time they on y'all ass. Down here. The front door locked. Dumbass. I'm on your ass. 1, 2, 3.
The 24-year-old walks outside and instantly finds 3 of his mates hiding. He counts them out, and then, all on stream, a man can be seen scaling the fence to the property. And then, this happens.
I'm on your ass. 1, 2, 3. Who the fuck is that, G? I don't know. I'm in your face. Get your dumb ass on the other side of this gate. Who the fuck? Dumbass. This can't be one of my friends.
Up on the ground.
Hey, Pard! Pull that shit up!
Ernest is suddenly and violently attacked by the unknown person. He can be heard screaming as someone orders him to get to the ground. After a brief commotion, The video frame cuts to black and the recording ends. Back inside, the sound of gunshots echoed through the party. His friends rushed outside to find that Ernest had been shot and left for dead. The perpetrator now nowhere to be seen. When the authorities arrived, unfortunately, Ernest had died from his injuries. And it just goes to show what I mean about live streams, that they can capture moments that no one would have ever imagined capturing. Nearly 4 years on from this tragic ordeal,
That's crazy.
despite being caught in the act of a video, the police have been unable to find the person responsible, meaning this murderer continues to walk free.
Yeah.
But next time you think about going live and perhaps hosting a party with random people, perhaps think twice. Perhaps think about who is watching and waiting.
I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of a dummy move. RIP, but like, you know what I'm saying? Being where I'm from, being in the city, and you hosting you renting out a random Airbnb and saying, hey, I'm having game night, I'm having randos pull up on me. Bro, come on, my nigga. Like, that's stupid, my G. Like, if I'm gonna be live, you see, like, I'm live right now. First off, don't none of you motherfuckers really have my location. Maybe one person. But, like, I'm not hosting anything for randos. Like, you don't do anything for randos. That's just slow, my boy. RIP, but you got to move swifter than that. And he was a young nigga. He said he was 24. And he was a young nigga, so wasn't really he wasn't really the brightest. Somebody should have taught him about guns and butter, baby. That's what it's all about. Guns and butter. Okay, my bad. Oi. My bad. Allow us to continue. That's why motherfuckers gotta be careful, bro. Facts for real. One of those randos gonna bring another rando. That's what I'm saying. One rando brings another rando, and that rando knows another rando. You don't know who that rando knows or who they got beef with. You know what I'm saying? 8 years later, I'm even worse now. I'm probably now a lot of shit. Only thing I'd be having like completely open is like my social media accounts. Obviously, this shit. Obviously, my crunk voice. But yeah. But as far as like whenever I'm making moves or whenever I got planned to do stuff, I'm just yeah, definitely moving in silence. Oh, and I didn't get the biscuit. I just got a little burger. I got the avocado burger. But it was a little not as warm. But yeah, that's why I just keep everything I do social media wise open. But as far as like my in real life plans, you know what I'm saying? If I ever DM you, Discord message, whisper you, or some shit like that, that's because, like, you know, I kind of fuck with you on a certain type of way where it's like, all right, yeah, you would know. So I know, like, all right, worst case scenario, it's not all randos. It's either somebody I know who I can pinpoint something to if that were to happen, if that were to set case or whatever. Oh, wait. Oh, what? I know that. Okay, my fault. Let's continue. Yeah, that was dumb.
This entry brings us straight to Kuzhou, China,
Who?
on that fateful day of June the 20th, 2023. On that warm, beautiful summer day, 23-year-old Zhao, who went by the name of Zhao Zhumi on the Chinese version of TikTok known as Douyin, finished her shift at a construction site and decided that she'd go live to her viewers to entertain them for a while. In China, live streams have sort of taken over. A report by authorities last year found that as of September of 2023, Douyin had a staggering 743 million users, and that 89.8% of these users partake in live stream content.
But ain't they
Now, Zhao
like
was a mother to two
TikTok
kids,
different from
and
our
she
TikTok?
was a professional crane operator who had 100,000 followers on Douyin. Thousands of regular viewers would tune in almost every day to watch her sit in her cabin, far above the ground. On the stream, she'd talk to herself.
I think I've seen
she'd
this
show
one.
the views of the cabin and what she got up to that day at work. She'd give life updates, and sometimes she'd dance for her viewers while sitting in the cabin of her crane. That day, Zhao was working at a crane operating site near Kuzhou in the Shanxi province of Western China. At approximately 5:40 p.m, her shift finished and Zhao went live on Douyin. As the stream started, she spoke to the viewers, and then she began to do her cute little dances in front of her phone that was set up in the crane cabin. Zhao dances for a bit before she decides to get down and end the live stream. Unfortunately, in a part of the video that has been cut out, I couldn't find it anywhere, Zhao slips on the stairs as she was trying to descend, and the video then switches to blurry images of equipment whizzing past the lens, all captured on live stream. Zhao tumbled 160 feet
She
from
fell?
the cabin. She fell and she fell, tumbling through the metal struts, coming to an abrupt stop seconds later. Zhao died on impact. While most of her co-workers had reportedly left for the day, bystanders and eyewitnesses reported that Zhao still had her phone in her hand as she tumbled down the crane. Her fans and followers watched in shock as this entire ordeal unfolded live.
That's
The stream then
crazy.
ends, and shortly after, her family announced her death. Zhao's funeral and cremation took place the following week, with her ashes placed on a small table under an umbrella, as per local traditions.
That's tough. See? Further proof that TikTok is evil. wasn't TikToking, he'd
This
still be alive.
haunting live stream unfolded on August the 18th, 2022. It begins in the Key Motel in Chatsworth, Ontario, Canada. That day, with the summer sun pounding from above, 24-year-old Helen Nyabuto, known online as Helen Wendy, visited the Key Motel in Chatsworth with her friend. Helen first arrived in Canada from Kenya in 2018 and worked as a nurse in a local nursing home. She was described by her brother as full of life, with a warm smile.
I think I've seen this one. Doesn't she drown in a pool or something?
Now, the hotel that she visited that day with her mate was the Key Motel. This motel is an all-suite motel nestled on a quiet road in Chatsworth. The motel is a close drive to golf and other fun features, but they also have an array of amenities on site, such as a really cool barbecue, a picnic area, and a private pool. That day, Helen decided that the weather was beautiful and that she was going to take a dip into the shallow end of the pool. Helen donned a bikini and slipped in. And this is when she decided to grab her phone and start a Facebook live stream. The live stream begins showing Helen in a colorful swimming costume, smiling, having fun, and filming herself playing in the water. Now, while she was chatting to viewers, having a great time, it's important to note that Helen could not swim. She was in the shallow end for the majority of the stream, and there was no lifeguard or anyone watching over her.
This one confuses me though.
Douglas Marito, have a wonderful time. I am. Before summer issue.
Yeah, this one confuses me. Like, what happened?
Kenyatta Mofa, habari yako? Johanna Jr. Girl Toto. Uko aje? I'm having a good time. Ni saa 8. I think ni saa 8 na nusu.
Helen can be seen on stream having a little swim, but around 10 minutes into the stream, Helen wanders into the deeper part of the pool and off screen. This is when a truly horrible situation unfolded.
Right.
All off screen, you can see splashing and Helen can be heard shouting for help. Tragically, 2 whole minutes of struggling ensued, with Helen shouting for help, but there was nobody nearby, no lifeguard.
What happened?
Viewers who were watching assumed the worst. After around 2 minutes of
did
struggling,
she get like a cramp
the live stream
or...
went quiet, and there it sat, all afternoon, live streaming a calm pool with blue clear skies above. It was only 3 hours later, when 2 gentlemen tried to access the pool, did they notice that something was floating inside it.
I know, that scared the shit out of me when I got it. I think it's a poodle or something.
I think it's a poodle. It's a fucking person.
Does that freak you out or what?
That looks so realistic.
I know. I got in and I was like, is it somebody? Walk over there. Just walk over there.
Yeah, I guess you drowned, but like, how?
Yeah.
Like, what if it's actually somebody dead? Because I'm not even trolling, that looks way too real. Because I'm not getting in that pool, that looks like an actual dead person. But the thing is, if it was an actually dead person, it'd be floating to the top, right?
Maybe that.
Like if they're actually dead, it'd be at the top.
Like, I think you gotta walk down there, walk around to the other side. Like, go around behind. Like, go.
It looks like a real person.
Okay, go just tap.
I'm saying, like, it must have been a ghost. I'm thinking maybe she caught a cramp or something.
Cool. It looks like there was a dead person in there.
The nigga like, nah, there's a dead person in there.
Helen was rushed to hospital, but sadly, she'd been dead for hours.
Yeah.
Now, this entire stream is just all a bit odd to me. She's having fun, splashing in the water, swimming on her back. I just find it a bit bizarre that Helen suddenly found that she couldn't keep her head above the water.
Right.
Even splashing and screaming, begging for help. Unless she accidentally drifted into the deep end, then panicked when she realised she couldn't touch the floor, and then couldn't escape, she took in water. I'm unsure. Now, some folks have suggested that there was something else in the pool with her, but I've watched the whole lot and nothing seems to move other than a ball. So it's assumed that she just panicked and drowned. Wendy's father, Kayundi, revealed that he'd only found out about his daughter's death after one of her friends texted him about it, sending him the video in which he watched in horror. A GoFundMe was started to get her body back home to Kenya to be buried, eventually raising $50,000 US. This livestream is a brutal reminder of the dangers of water, no matter how deep. They say you can drown in a glass of water, but this one really shocked me. 1 minute it's all fun and smiles, and the next, tragedy.
You can drown in a glass of water? How? RIP. That is a crazy mystery, though.
Now, this entry is one that I wanted to cover since it happened, but I couldn't quite fit it into a video until now. This seemingly innocent stream begins in Lisbon, in Northern Ireland. At approximately 4 p.m. on December the 18th,
That little burger did his job.
32-year-old Stephen
That little burger did his thing.
announced on his Twitter and his YouTube that he'd be hosting a special Christmas surprise live stream right here on his YouTube channel, Vote Saxon 07. He said that he was going to go live at 6 p.m, just 2 hours from the announcement. Now, for a bit of background, the Vote Saxon 07 channel was a YouTube channel that I'd watched for years at the time of this incident.
I bet you have.
Hello YouTube viewers and random Doctor Who fans. Hello YouTube viewers and random Star Wars fans, and may the 4th be with you. Hello YouTube viewers and random subscribers and well-wishers and hangers on. Hello YouTube viewers and random Doctor Who fans.
The channel's name is actually a reference to one of my favourite Doctor Who 3-parter episodes, where the Master takes over the world and becomes the Prime Minister. Starting in 2015, the Vote Saxon channel was run solely by Stephen McCullough. The channel's original focus was Doctor Who, whether that be episode reviews, merch reviews, figurine reviews, anything Doctor Who, you name it. While focusing on Doctor Who, Stephen also covered lots of other nerdy stuff, such as Star Wars. He loved his Robot Wars. The channel was a place that I'd find myself returning to every now and then when a particular controversial Doctor Who episode dropped, or when new figure reviews came out. Today, the channel sits at 38,000 subscribers with 13 million video views.
Nice.
So the channel covered anything Doctor Who and pop culture related. So this is why it was particularly strange when Stephen announced to his YouTube and his Twitter that he'd be going live in just 2 hours for a gaming live stream. I didn't catch the stream at the time, but his followers were thrilled at the prospect of watching him play video games live, especially seeing as he'd not streamed for over a year. So, 2 hours later, 6 p.m. arrived, and just as promised, Stephen went live to his viewers on YouTube. This stream, however, was far from what it seemed. Earlier that day, on December the 18th, Stephen's girlfriend at the time, 32-year-old Natalie McNally, who had been in a relationship with Stephen since August of 2022 and was actually 15 weeks pregnant, spent her time at her parents' house in Lurgan, watching football, a small nearby town 20 minutes away from Stephen's house in Lisbon.
What happened? Did you crash out?
The World Cup was on, and the festive atmosphere was truly palpable. After the game ended, Natalie made her way back to her house in Lurgan, Silverwood Green, arriving back at around 7 p.m. The last communication between Stephen and Natalie was at 5:57 p.m, with Stephen messaging her saying, "Right, I'm off to stream the night away. Wish me luck." That night, as the stream continued, showing Stephen playing his games, Natalie was murdered in cold blood. She'd been beaten black and blue and stabbed multiple times. She had defensive wounds all over her body, cuts, scratches, including blunt force trauma to the head and a compressed neck. She was found by Stephen on the evening of the 19th, who rang the police, and a murder investigation was quickly started.
Detectives from the Major Investigation Team have now launched a murder investigation.
Why?
Following the death of Natalie McNally in Lurgan. This follows the results of the post-mortem. The 32-year-old died a violent death, having been stabbed a number of times, and there are signs of defensive injuries. She was murdered at her home in the Silverwood Green area of the town, and evidence now suggests that she was murdered on the night of Sunday, the 18th of December.
Now, of course, the police first suspected Stephen, and he was arrested. He was charged with Natalie's murder that very day. However, once he was brought into questioning, Stephen maintained his innocence, pointing only to his live stream as proof of his whereabouts during the time of the murder. The police reviewed the stream, and yep, that was Stephen gaming at that time, at that date. They confirmed that Stephen was live. He was playing video games, seemingly cementing his alibi.
We as a community want to take the opportunity to offer our deepest condolences to Natalie's parents, her brothers, her family, and her friends.
Please, if anybody has any information whatsoever, please bring it to the police. Thank you.
Just before we release the dreams, may Natalie rest in peace.
So who did it and why?
On December the 24th, the police stated publicly that Stephen had been eliminated from the investigation and that he had been released and cleared of any further suspicion. On Boxing Day, December the 26th, a day after Natalie was due to reveal to her loved ones that she was in fact pregnant, family and friends instead gathered for her funeral near her family home. Several hundred members of the public and the local community gathered to see her coffin as they showed the family their support. On the 28th of January, a rally was held in Lurgan in a local park in memory of Natalie and her unborn child. More than 1,000 people gathered, as well as Stephen, of course, captured here.
She earned 2 degrees, had a successful career, owned her own home, lived independently, had her own networks of friends, looked after scores of cats and dogs, and alongside her loving partner, was delighted to be becoming a mother for the first time.
We are the parents of Natalie McNally, Bernadette, and myself, Noel McNally. Natalie was murdered on the 18th of December, and we are appealing to the killer of Natalie to give himself up to the police, or if someone knows who this person is, please get in contact with the police and give this person up. This person needs to be taken off the street.
I would just say, please, if anybody who suspects somebody or knows, come forward. Search your conscience that you cannot keep this a secret. This person cannot, who brutally murdered my daughter, cannot be in society. Please come forward with any information that you may have. The police need this, and we as a family need to get justice for Natalie.
The slightest wee bit of information that you know might be the breakthrough for this case to take this person off the street.
While the hunt for who was responsible continued, Stephen carried on making content for his channel, as usual, releasing a Doctor Who figure review on January the 25th.
Hello YouTube viewers and random Doctor Who fans. Yes, the time is finally upon us. After years of B&M Frankensteinian mashup figure sets, Character Options have at long last released something new, the Regeneration set from the power of the Doctor. Modification, I've decided to put the
So did he do it or no?
David Tennant head onto the Raggedy Doctor body, and I've created a whole new character. This is Drunk Dave New channel mascot, completely new, original character, never seen before.
The police then questioned neighbours who lived nearby Natalie, and 2 separate people reported that at roughly 9 PM they'd heard a blood-curdling scream. But as police teams scoured through hours and hours of CCTV evidence for any clue, the investigation deepened when a shocking revelation came to light. A taxi driver came to the police to report that at around 8 PM on December the 18th, he picked up a man from outside a pub in Lurgan to a residential property in Lisbon. The place that the taxi driver had taken the man to was Stephen's address. At 11:13 PM, the taxi concluded its service at his home, and remarkably, within just 3 minutes, at 11:16 PM, Stephen's phone, which had actually been inactive for several hours, suddenly showed activity. Stephen later attributed this phone activity to him having fallen asleep after consuming alcohol. The police later found Natalie's murder weapon, a kitchen knife from her own home, had been used to kill her. Digital police teams then thoroughly investigated the live stream and Stephen's computer. The stream, which had initially appeared to be Stephen's perfect alibi, was in fact pre-recorded and played as a live stream. Investigators discovered that the stream was recorded on the 14th of December, 4 days before Natalie's murder. It was found that for the entirety of the 6-hour stream, Stephen pretended that he was live. He was in fact not. The entire thing was an elaborate hoax. Stephen had meticulously planned the entire thing from start to finish to establish an alibi for the time his girlfriend was murdered. This twist turned the case completely on its head. What seemed like an innocent gaming session was in fact a cold, calculated attempt to mislead authorities and the public. Stephen had planned it almost perfectly. To the exact time the stream should go live, to the exact time it would end. The stream started at 6 PM and lasted all the way up to 12 PM, giving him plenty of alibi to fall back on should he be questioned. Throughout the stream, he goes along with the entire thing, pretending that it's all live, looking at the camera, fake talking to the camera, and even fake reacting to things.
Hey, and we're live. Hello, everyone. Yeah, a little bit out of the blue, this, isn't it? But, hang on, my levels are just a nightmare. There we go, bring that down a little bit. And that could be a little bit better framed, but that's the fun of being live. Yes, so, hello to all.
Dead as
Sunday evening. Yeah, so I just thought, why not? I'm going to do a live stream, because this day next week is Christmas. So what more could you want for Christmas other than an evening with your old pal, Stephen?
So Stephen thought he was really smart, but he had an ego the size of Jupiter. He'd left obvious clues as to what he was really doing throughout the stream, hidden in plain sight. The stream in question, which is actually still live on his channel, was called The Violent Night. Need I say more? It begins with Stephen loading up Grand Theft Auto Vice City on his original Xbox, and as the stream started, Stephen announced that he couldn't actually interact with the audience. A big red flag.
So yeah, I think I've got it set up. Now the trouble is, because this is quite an old computer, it's getting on a little bit, I'm going to have to save up and get myself a new one in the new year, but for now, this one's kind of hanging along, you know, like smoke is billowing out of it. It looks like it's running on red diesel and hatred at this point. Trouble is, it's in a very limited capacity. Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. So, by all means, talk amongst yourselves.
Stephen blamed it on several problems with his streaming setup and said that it would crash the system if he tried to reply. He told them to talk amongst themselves as he continued playing games.
Wow. That's what we're going to be drinking and driving. In the game, by the way, I'm not leaving the house tonight, so...
Other than the fact that Stephen couldn't interact with viewers, the stream plays very much like any other gaming stream.
Exactly.
There it is. We got there in the end.
Exactly, real shit.
Some parts of it are, frankly, boring, with lots of silence, just Stephen driving cars. But when things do go wrong, Stephen reacts with ear-piercing rage.
What? Oh! I don't remember this mission being this difficult. Oh! No! 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 Why does this keep happening? Away. I will kill you all with fire!
Viewers were typing in chat, trying to speak to him. They were none the wiser, fully believing they were part of a live event. But it's not the
had his whole
that's the worst
chat
bit. It's the things that
fooled
Stephen
too.
was saying and the things that he was doing that will make your stomach turn. Here are all the examples.
What if this was
I
a
could
pre?
find.
Uh-oh.
You don't know me.
I was gonna say, what if this is a? What if whole time this is like a pre-recorded one? You know what I'm saying? What if I'm out? You know what I'm saying? Chopping up some bodies in GTA. You know what I'm saying? Getting my Jeffrey Dahmer on. I'm just using this as an alibi. You know, just cold, calculated. Yeah. What if I'm just like not even here? It's just you know, pre-recorded. I'm just, you know, maybe got the mic attached to my phone and I'm just like reading the chat on my phone and just talking through my phone, but I'm not really here. Uh-oh. But nah, I'm not that smart to do that.
You don't know what I've suffered.
While smirking at the camera, Stephen commented about the lack of police in Ireland. He then says, in a mock London accent,
just shit,
that's why he
you
likes
never
committing
know.
crimes in video games.
Like I was reading somewhere recently, like
Put the rock away, let
of police force that we have lost over the last 12 years is just fucking frightening, and no wonder crime is on the rise. That's why I like sticking to just doing crimes in a video game. Keeps things simple, mate. No one's coming to save you. Trying to get back into my gaming again, but that's not going to be a fucking thing come next year, because my efforts shall be involved elsewhere in my life. So just making the most out of my free time now. Well, I've still got it.
Another hint occurs at around 3 hours into the video, at roughly 9 PM, exactly when neighbours say they heard a scream coming from Natalie's house.
Maybe I'm not even.
At this exact point in the night, Stephen chose to undertake a very specific side mission on Vice City. This mission's task would be to kill a woman and make it look like an accident.
I'm sorry.
While conducting this side quest, on stream, Stephen could be heard
Let the rock
saying,
up, I'm sorry.
I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down.
I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down.
While playing, Stephen's car's bouncing all over the shop, and he says,
Yeah, that's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-notly. Abso-fucking-notly.
a sickening and obvious nod towards his girlfriend. Remember, this was all recorded 4 days prior, so he would have had to really
You
think
better be
and
sorry.
plan to marry up the exact time that he did this side quest to the time he committed the alleged murder. If you really think about it, it's bloody horrifying.
Back into work on Wednesday, then off until New Year's. So it'll be enough time to rest, relax, spend time with my loved ones. I actually think it'll be a really fucking good Christmas this year. But yes, sorry, I'm getting horribly distracted. Yeah, so I think break. I think a little break. Just try and collect myself again and stop the ice from stinging right the fuck out of my head.
One of the more haunting hints occurs during a break at around 9:15 PM. Rather than a screen saying live stream back soon, as he did in all the previous breaks, instead, the screen is replaced momentarily with a promotional photo of the James Bond film No Time to Die. This would have been around the time that Stephen was allegedly murdering Natalie and his unborn child.
I'll tell you something. I made a real pig's ear of that. I just sat down and I pulled the controller and the headphones off the table, which hit the keypad, which it's apparently hotkeys are still connected, so it went on to something else for a little second. Yeah, anyway.
The stream continues. He plays a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
Is he a weird
before moving on
motherfucker,
to
Diesel?
a low-quality Robot Wars game. At the end of the stream, Stephen brings it all together with the so-called live viewers, reminding them of the importance of Christmas and the importance of being near loved ones.
Look, is it? Anyway, I think I'll wrap up this stream with none of you watching at all. Just by saying, Merry Christmas, everyone. It's a time that we look forward to and we get excited about whenever we're young. And then as we get older, we get much more cynical and stuff like that. And then we reach a stage where we realize it's not about us anymore. It's about the younger generation, and it's about keeping that love alive and passing it on. And I think that's something I'm looking forward to doing more than anything else, really. But yes,
Wow.
for all of us, be
Really,
young,
nigga?
be old, I think the important thing to take
Really?
away from it is to use it as a time, not for what we receive, but what we can give in terms of presents, in terms of love, in terms of sex. It's just been one of those nights, hasn't it? But yes, I think the message rings true that Christmas, it's not about the shopping, it's not about the lights and the tints and all that crap. It's literally just about having some time off to enjoy spending time with the people that you love. So hopefully I've done that tonight and given you a couple of hours of madness of me freaking out. So until next time, everyone, thank you for watching. Good night.
Shortly after the live stream was discovered to be fake, damning CCTV evidence was found, and on January the 31st, Stephen was rearrested for Natalie's murder. The CCTV footage in question captured a figure at 7:09 p.m. on December the 18th. The footage shows a tall man navigating his way towards a bus stop located at Kingsway in Dunmurry, a notable distance of 2 miles from Stephen's home in Lisbon. The individual, shrouded in a large hood and scarf that was concealing his face, embarked on a journey to Lurgan, where Natalie lived, aboard the bus. As he attempted to pay the fare with cash, a mishap occurred. The coins tumbled to the floor, and the man bent down in an effort to try and retrieve them. Because he was wearing gloves, he couldn't pick them up. So he removed one of the black gloves, and underneath you can see a pair of yellow latex gloves. This man was wearing 2 pairs of gloves, showing that he was forensically aware. The man's physical stature and the manner of walking bore a striking resemblance to Stephen, and Stephen was clearly trying to conceal his fingerprints. Further CCTV footage tracked this man from the bus, entering Silverwood Green, where Natalie lived, at 8:52 p.m. This same person can then be seen departing the scene around 40 minutes later at 9:31 p.m. with a dark backpack, dressed in a different set of clothes. CCTV then captures the man hailing a taxi outside a pub that was initially waiting for another person. He got in the car and claimed that his mother was ill and that he needed to go to another destination. This man directed the taxi towards Lisbon and towards Stephen's address. This taxi driver later positively identified Stephen as his passenger in a Viper police lineup. This accumulation of evidence led to Stephen being formally charged with murder in the early hours of February the 2nd. One of the prosecuting lawyers described how every moment of this entire thing had been carefully thought through, and it's only due to painstaking police work and sophisticated cyber evidence that he hasn't got away with it. To make this crime even worse, between the times of being arrested and then released, and then rearrested, Stephen visited Natalie's family to find out if they were onto him. He went over to see how they were doing and set up his phone to record. Well, Stephen forgot about his phone on record and had to come back later in the evening to retrieve it. Natalie's parents even allowed Stephen to spend 20 minutes alone with her body on Christmas night, believing him to be the grieving partner and not the person who had killed their daughter.
Wow.
So, why did he allegedly do this, you're wondering?
Yes.
Some people believe that Stephen didn't want the baby and that he wanted out,
BBC?
while others believe that he did this to stop Natalie leaving him, as police did discover sexualized messages to an ex on Natalie's phone, giving a supposed catalyst for her killing. Upon forensic review, it was also found that Stephen unlocked Natalie's phone 9 times on the night before her death. It's assumed that he was checking who she was talking to, but didn't send any messages. Stephen's been in prison since his arrest. He did later admit to pre-recording the livestream, but did not admit to murder. When Stephen appeared at Belfast Crown Court on Friday the 12th of January 2024, the pre-recorded livestream became the key piece of evidence that unravelled his alibi. When the judge asked how he pleaded to the murder charge, he replied, "Not guilty." In court, his defence lawyer argued that the video was pre-recorded as a failsafe to get more viewers attracted to live content. But this doesn't really add up because, number one, he's not streamed in over a year, and number two, why would you live stream and pretend to be live? And it doesn't make any sense. His lawyer added that there were no hints or reference within the live stream, and that these comments were a tragic coincidence. The judge scheduled his trial for September of 2024. Stephen was then handcuffed and led from the dock by the prison staff, and as he did so, he kept his face to the ground, refusing to even acknowledge Natalie's family or friends as he walked past them into custody.
Well, damn.
But that is the end of this video. May Natalie and her unborn child, along with the other people featured in this video, rest in peace.
Indeed, and all them hoe ass niggas. Hope he, you know what I'm saying? Hope he getting exactly what he needs in jail. Cause I ain't gonna lie, that's tough. That's tough. Scam niggas into thinking, oh yeah, I'm playing some GTA and you out mortifying and murderfying. I thought he said rest in piss. I would have been like, bruh, that's kind of harsh. It's kind of harsh. Okay. I don't want to take a nap. I'm not gonna hold you. Just a wee nap. Oh, that's not what I thought it was. Oh shit, let me end this. I forgot.